I'm Jessica.
Hello, I'm Stuart.
And we've got Joe LaFauci with us tonight. Hi, Joe.
Hi there.
So excited to have you again with us. And of course, we miss Abby. Shout out to Abby. In case you missed our last episode, Abby has decided to take a little bit of a step back from the podcast on a regular basis so she can focus on her many, many various activities, including being the commissioner of Lighthouse Point. So she is still a part of our We the Locals podcast family, and she'll be popping in here and there and definitely giving us updates on all things Broward County and Breck. So if you could please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this episode as well as to our channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to become a sponsor of our channel to help us keep the lights on, we have information available about our sponsorships on our website. You can also toss us a Rumble rant, a super chat, or just give us a donation if you would like through the website as well. And I think those are all the announcements. Did I miss anything, Jessica?
I don't think so, but I don't think we're live.
Oh, okay.
Just keep going.
I'm going to keep going. So we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties because that's what happens when Abby leaves us. Because she does a lot of the tech stuff. And I'm just here for the jokes. So I am not a help at all.
That you are.
Yeah, that's my...
The first part, not the second.
Thank you. Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so should we keep going?
I'm live on YouTube, but not on the link on the stream that I was supposed to be.
Oh. Well, we can drop
So,
it. Can we drop it out on our socials? The link.
I have no idea. Just
All right.
bear
Well,
with
if
me.
you are watching, please give us
Rumble,
a little love, a little hi, so we know that
What?
there's people accessing our live
We're
stream.
not on Rumble either.
No.
So, all right. Well, we are also have an adjusted time. We were going on at 7:15, but we decided to bump it up to 7, so to give us a little more time in the show. And so, yeah, we're here now at 7. How's everyone doing? How you doing, Joe? Okay, so let's talk Joe for a second before we get into community stuff while Jessica's figuring that out. So last time, Joe, we had you on, you were a candidate for state committee man, and now you are the state committee man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. And to be a candidate was a truly interesting experience. I'd worked, in all of my campaign speeches, I talked about, this is so crazy that I'm actually in the front of the room now instead of in the back with the crowd, staffing, making
Taking
sure that,
pictures, making
the
sure
drinks are
everything's
served. Yeah, everything's clean. So it was a lot of fun. It was a very eye-opening experience. And to be, somewhat of a public figure, I tell people I'm half an elected official because
Okay.
I'm elected. I don't know if I'm super official, but I'm having a really good time and we're getting a lot of work done.
All right.
So it's been a lot of fun and I'm grateful.
So if you could please take a minute to refresh our audience on what a state committee man does.
Of course, yes. So I am your Republican state committee man. So essentially what I serve as is the liaison from the local Republican Party in Palm Beach County to the state executive committee.
Okay.
So I would go to Tallahassee or wherever we go 4 times a year for a quarterly meeting and vote on policy that steers the party in any certain direction.
Okay. At like the state level, then that steers it even a little bit higher up to the federal level. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So a lot of people actually are not familiar with the setup of how the entire RNC works.
Okay.
And while we're figuring this out, I'll just go through it. So at the bottom, the most important people we have are the grassroots because they're the movers and the shakers, the action people.
That's us.
That elect our local candidates. Well, all politics is local, right? And so it's really upstream where you have these people elect representatives on the local county Republican Executive Committee. These are your closest elected officials that can make something happen in the Republican Party.
Okay.
From there, you have the REC who elects a representative at the state level to represent their county. That would be me.
Okay.
So I am number 2 on the ring. We elect a chairman and a national committee man and woman who represent us at the RNC.
Those are the ones that vote for like the RNC chair and stuff?
RNC chair, all
Okay.
those things. So those are the people who vote for Laura Trump and Michael Whatley, and more recently, Joe Gruters, who is now our treasurer for the RNC.
Oh.
So Joe Gruters is one of our state
right. I did
senators,
hear
and
that.
he is our national committee man.
So he's a state senator and a national committee man.
Yes.
It's a lot of hats to wear.
It's a lot of hats to wear. It's a lot of power to hold. And
is.
I respect the man greatly.
That's
for it.
awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So, Jess, are we live
I believe that
Yes,
we are
on-
live.
on YouTube and Rumble?
And
On
Rumble.
Okay,
Look
so if
at
you're
that.
just joining us on Rumble, hi, it's so sorry. Welcome to the evening. We are experiencing a few technical difficulties. We're getting, our feet settled without Abby being here, who usually does some of the most of the things, and we have Joe LaFauci with us tonight. So welcome to our Rumble guests.
My apologies, everybody.
You are one woman down, but morale is as high as ever.
Thank you. We're trying. We're trying. Yeah, it's
And Stu has a seat at the table.
And
so
Stu
I-
gets to sit at the table, which for those like when we have guests, because our table here is very small in our studio, there's only 4 microphones and 4 seats. So when we have guests, when Abby was here, Stu was put in the corner. we did put baby in the corner. So he was in the corner. So now that we are down a host, Stu now gets to have a seat at the table on a regular
That's right.
basis. So we're very happy about that.
And maybe put a few words in every once in a while.
Yeah, I unfortunately I might have to shift and switch with him so that I get the mute button if he gets too mouthy. So, yeah. So what's up? Hi, Jessica. Welcome.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
What's new?
Well, lots of things. I've got like 4 pages of notes of just like happenings and
Yeah,
things that
I've
are,
got like a whole
going
list of things to
on.
talk about.
So-
for this episode, it's gonna be jam packed.
Yeah, so I thought something that was interesting is, we just had our RNC elections and all of that kind of stuff, but the DNC also had their elections.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was very interesting of all of the Republicans that came out and endorsed Nikki Fried for DNC chair. I thought that was hilarious. So, great for our Florida leadership to endorse
But we
her. I
still
thought
got
that
a
was
Florida
great.
dude as the vice DNC chair.
Yes. So Nikki Fried is the Florida Democrat Party chair.
Yes.
And then they just recently elected David Hogg as the vice chair of the DNC.
Do you know that I heard that they had all these rules that like you were not allowed to vote for the same gender for
Yeah.
chair and vice chair.
there had to be one non-binary member to balance everybody out.
And one
So they're
at-large
screwed
gender
because
member or
there's only
something.
2.
But they elected 2 white guys
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
chair
white
and
guy's the
vice
chair
chair.
now. Yeah. I have a funny David Hogg story from,
Oh, please.
from very recently.
Let's go.
Oh yeah, this is great.
I'm not going to tell you how I got there.
Okay.
Leave that
but
part out.
I left the Florida ball, Rick Scott's ball, and I was on my way back to the hotel.
This is during inauguration time
Yes.
week,
I
couple weeks ago.
I run into a friend who I'm not allowed to mention
Okay.
who was on their way to the Democratic Mayors Association of America.
Okay.
I crashed the party.
Oh
I showed up in a tuxedo.
my
And
gosh.
these people were like, "Are you coming from an inaugural event?" And I'm like, "I just thought we dressed better here. I'm so sorry." Like they're like, obviously this guy's a Republican.
Yes.
And I run into David Hogg.
Okay. Have you ever met him?
I never met him before.
Okay.
I did pass by him during the protests in the Capitol following. It was the gun protest in like 2017.
Okay.
Following the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting. But aside from that, that was the first time I had encountered him. And I had to think quick and act like I was a Democratic mayor. So I was telling him all about my jurisdiction and like this made-up place. I'm the mayor of Loxahatchee, Florida, in case anybody wants to know, which is unincorporated. So
I was going to say it's not
There
even a
is
real
none.
town.
I didn't take anybody's seat.
Okay. So you're not like impersonating a real seat.
Right.
No,
okay.
no. And
But
I
he
s-
didn't know that. He's like, yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I went for the wine, and we imbibed plenty that evening, and so I
No wonder
he's
you
like,
came
let's
back
keep in
sick."
touch, give me your number. Like I did, so I text him, congratulations, when he won, and he responds, thank you, Mayor.
He really thinks you're a mayor? He didn't go Google you? What a dumbass. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
I immediately Google people after I meet them. Okay, not
Oh,
every
that's
time, but
hilarious.
like,
It was all just a bit of good fun.
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh, I love that story.
It
That's
was
a great
interesting.
story.
It was interesting.
Why would they hold their event during inauguration week?
That's a good question. Well, so there was a mayor's association, like you know how we have Florida
Yeah.
Association of Counties.
Yeah.
They have a National Association of Mayors.
Right.
for some reason, they just lined it up. Maybe they were expecting a Kamala Harris win and they were all ready to celebrate.
That's probably it. They were like, we'll overlap and get to go to all the inaugural stuff too.
I was at an RPOF breakfast at the same hotel where the conference was. And I look and I'm like, what the hell is Keith James doing here, the mayor of West Palm Beach? I'm like, I'm seeing all these Democratic mayors. And
you're like, this seems odd. Yeah. You're like, this is not what this is. Where am I?
It was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how was DC for the, I mean, that aside, like, where were you on, like, during this? I mean, were you in you weren't in the Capitol during the swearing in? Were you? Whoa, that's too dark. A little higher.
The Republican Party of Florida did a inaugural watch party.
Okay.
Since they moved it inside. Mm-hmm. It was open bar. It was a great time. And it was a really good chance to talk to all of our Florida people who showed up.
Nice.
We had a lot of state committee people.
Yeah.
So it was a really good time to show some, patronage with each other and enjoy
build
each other's.
Some rapport.
Yeah. Rapport is the word.
I love that word. It's a good word.
But yeah, Donald J. Trump is our president. Joe LaFauci is our state committee man. Where do we go wrong?
Listen, please, where do we go wrong?
No, where do we go?
Where do we go wrong? Listen, I'm going to steal a line. I'm going to steal a line from a great commentator, and I'm going to say Donald Trump has broken one of his promises. I am not tired of winning yet. And he promised me that I would win so much that I'll be tired of winning. And I'm not tired of winning, and therefore I believe that's a promise broken. But we'll see.
We still
that's
got some time.
A quote from Ben Shapiro.
We got some time.
We got some. I don't see how we could lose. I mean, we're about to make, Mar-a-Lago. It's going to be great. Oh my gosh, the melting. I'm sorry. I know we got to get back to local stuff, but I just cannot. When the guy who's trying to bring articles of impeachment for dastardly deeds. Dastardly deeds.
It's important.
That's what it says in the Constitution, right
under
there.
High crimes and misdemeanors.
Dastardly deeds.
And ampersand dastardly deeds.
Dastardly. Oh my gosh, the drama. It's so funny.
I can't believe it took this long. I thought for sure day one in office they would do.
They had to wait. They had to. You know what? Honestly, I really think they're scrambling. Things are happening so fast that they don't know where to go. They're like, it's like whack-a-mole. Yep. They cannot figure out where to throw that hammer to try to knock something down, to like figure out where they should put their efforts into
Trump
protesting.
And his entire team are like, we've had 4 years to figure this out.
They're like, let's go.
We're ready to go.
I'm loving it. I spend so much time on X. I thought after the election was over, I'd be a little like get to take a little time off of X. And no.
Nope.
It's nonstop.
Nope.
Nonstop. What great things happening next?
Nonstop winning.
Non-stop winning.
Speaking of President Trump, there was this whole thing of the county commission meeting about how we're owed like $40 million for protecting Trump. They had to actually take money from reserves and give it to the sheriff's office for our presidential protection.
Shouldn't that come from Secret Service?
Yes, the directives come from Secret Service, but the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office provides the support, but then the Congress then has to reimburse Palm Beach County, and that can take up to a year.
So the sheriff just billed us an extra couple $1 trillion. No big deal.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, so it is budget season with Palm Beach County. So
okay, so bringing it back to local stuff.
So
okay.
they are starting to review the budget. It's a very interesting meeting that they had just the other day about a couple of our newer commissioners, Joel Flores and Bobby Powell, both mentioned that they want to reduce the millage rate and cut spending. So
what?
Yep. So Administrator Baker was very like, okay, we'll see, but we're going to come down to programs. You have to tell me what programs you want to eliminate.
Let's see if they actually do it.
So that's going to be very
They're Democrats. They're not going to eliminate programs.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm like, the entitlements that we have in the county is a majority of our budget. So it's going to be very interesting to find out what they choose to go. And it's going to highlight, if they really start to look at this stuff, it's really going to start to highlight how much the entitlements that we do have in the county and how we draw people to move here for our entitlements, which a lot of people do not understand. Like a lot of our homeless community, a lot of our blind community, a lot of our, special needs move here because of Palm Beach County services. And so
which
That
we're
all-
subsidizing with our taxes.
Correct.
And then it's causing a influx of, like, it's, puts us into like housing crises and stuff like that where we can't. Interesting.
And that's a lot of things that like people don't really understand.
I didn't realize that.
Is how much of these community and it kind of comes back to the the budget with the federal government and everything that's going on with these programs, because it was mentioned in the county commission meeting that they were concerned when grant funding and stuff stopped. So our county administrator has always been very clear. We'll do a grant program. We'll hire you under the grant program. But if the grant program goes away, you're out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting how this all plays out, from entitlements to things that we get grants
How
for.
much is that coming from USAID?
Yeah. And that's going to be very interesting. So I like the fact that they're going to put, hopefully they do it. Hopefully they're transparent about it. A lot of it will happen in agenda reviews and things of that nature, so we won't get privy to that information, of course, but hopefully that they can start to outline some of these programs and maybe
I will be willing to bet that the moment they start to see which programs they're going to have to cut and they're going to have to actually redline things, that those Democrats are going to be like, nope, can't do it, because they'll never get elected to anything ever again, because that's what Democrats get elected on, is the programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I will be shocked if they actually do it. But we'll see.
And if they are able to lower the millage rate, I doubt very much that they're going to be able to.
Not, yeah.
It's like you look at the budget and it's like only less than $2 billion of our dollars comes from ad valorem taxes, and even less than that comes from the actual homesteaded, taxes. This is all businesses and everything that fund Palm Beach County.
Oh, there was an interesting. So I watch Matters. Sorry. Are you done?
Go ahead. Yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
because I'm going to shift for a second.
Yeah.
So I was watching Matters by the Public. So I don't watch every county commission meeting because time and energy and focus. But I was watching Matters by the Public this last week because there's a topic that I'll bring up in a second. But this guy was on there, and one of the things he was talking about was there's like is people who have had homesteaded exemptions for so long, they're paying so little, and it's affecting. Then it's putting pressure that because of that, it's putting pressure on other homeowners and all this stuff. And it was interesting, like, that he was bringing that forward to them. It was obviously Matters by the Public, so it was just a public comment, but it was just an interesting, like, because I've heard that before. People like, and there was a whole thing in Florida House where there was a lobbyist who was trying to get a bill to remove homestead exemptions.
Well, also,
wasn't that last year? 2 years ago.
I don't remember if that was last year or the session before, but it was very interesting because DeSantis actually came out very recently. I think yesterday he had a press conference on it that he wanted to triple the homestead exemption this budget.
Interesting.
To be able to help with offset insurance costs.
Well, speaking of insurance costs, those are also coming down. I don't know if that was in the same press conference. I have a tweet here by him. Where did I put it? Here. So DeSantis tweeted yesterday, or posted on X, announced that Citizens Property Insurance will be instituting homeowners insurance premium decreases for 3/4 of Miami-Dade and statewide decreases averaging 5.6%. And then companies like auto insurance, Geico, State Farm, and Progressive all seeing decreases for anywhere from 6% up to 10.5%. So
that's huge, and
that's
kudos
huge.
to DeSantis for
figuring out
at least trying to help tackle that, since the legislator has failed to do so.
Yes,
the legislature, I should say, has failed to do so the last 2 sessions that they had an opportunity to address it.
Yeah, we'll get to legislature stuff in a second. But the other thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was interesting is fluoride. So here's the fluoride thing. So fluoride has been put in water, in public drinking water, for decades. And there, in the more holistic health community, there has been a large recognition that fluoride is actually very unhealthy for you because it's not.
It's a toxic substance.
It's a toxic substance. And so especially putting it in drinking water, the only way fluoride is effective at actually doing anything for the teeth is if it sits on the teeth. And when you're drinking water, it's not sitting on your teeth. So it's really not doing anything.
You're ingesting it.
You're ingesting it, which is a toxin. And it's a neurotoxin. And so it can affect brain development and cognitive development and a lot of different things. So in the more hippy-dippy community. We've been removing fluoride from our drinking
Decades.
water for a really long
I
time.
haven't used fluoride in toothpaste.
We don't use
nothing
fluoride in
decades.
toothpaste. We don't use fluoride. We have either reverse osmosis or fluoride filters or whatever it is. Everything removing as much fluoride as possible from our water. Well, excuse me. Last year, right before the election, there was a court case where a judge ruled that, like, based off of all of the data of studies showing that fluoride is a neurotoxin, it is unhealthy, and the unhealthy detriments outweigh any benefit of it being in public drinking water, that the EPA needs to, like, put a ruling out to remove it. Well, the EPA was going to bump it up, I think, to the Supreme Court right before Trump got elected. So now I think everything's on hold. So it hasn't been moved. So currently the ruling stands that it should be removed. So in accordance with that information, our Surgeon General for the state of Florida, Dr. Ladapo, love him, has issued recommendation to remove it from public drinking water. So now there is a big push in a lot of the cities and counties to have it removed, and several of them are doing it.
He was just in Lee County, I believe.
He was just in Lee County. He was just in Palm Beach County yesterday on Tuesday.
Really?
He was in Delray Beach.
He was in Delray Beach because he was invited to come to Delray Beach. He was not invited to come to the Palm Beach County Commission building. But he was invited to come to Delray Beach. And so he went. And so a friend of mine she gave a public comment she's been pushing it to public Palm Beach County commissioners. So far, she's only been able to secure a meeting with one of them. The rest of them have not responded to her. And a article came out about a week before that where Todd Von Laren, who's one of the county administrators, basically told Palm Beach Post that we're not removing it. We're not taking it out of Palm Beach County water.
Choice.
Well,
apparently it's his choice.
Well, that's very interesting because in Delray Beach, they actually voted to keep it 3-2.
Right. So that's where I was going. Yeah, the next thing.
But Wilton Simpson came out today and actually announced that he is going to put a statewide referendum basically to remove it statewide.
So this is the thing that I find very interesting about it, and this was the frustration that my friend had sitting in the meeting for Delray, because at first they had the votes. And Dr. Ladapo spoke, and he was invited to speak by their water management director, who's very much in favor of removing it, from what I understand, at least wanted to present the information properly. And they switched, and she said it was incredibly frustrating because couple of the commissioners would say stuff like, well, we need to see the studies and we need to see this. And she's like, it's in Dr. Ladapo's recommendation, all of the links to all of the studies. So when we have bureaucrats in charge, or elected officials, though, in charge of health things, when they don't understand health things, it's kind of crazy. It harkens back to COVID when they were like taking all of this health information from one unelected health official and didn't get any other opinion. So now it's kind of reversed. They've got this one unelected health official who's giving them information, and they're like, we don't care. So it's clearly not about the information. It's actually about an agenda. And I find that very interesting. So it was so they flipped, and so Delray is now keeping it in. And so I'll be curious to see what would happen if the state legislature tried to do something about it, or is everyone going to push back and say home rule?
You know, where did liberals go? Because
I don't know.
The traditional liberal
I don't know.
used to say, question everything.
I don't know.
What are we putting into our bodies? What is the government enforcing? What are
Used to be
unelected
the
bureaucrats
people.
making
Correct.
decisions about?
Correct.
And, I don't have the information on fluoride. I've never studied it. I'm not
That's
gonna lie.
fair.
But it's worth the conversation.
Yes.
Everything is worth the conversation.
Yes.
And now liberals are saying, let's inject this very questionable, vaccine.
Yep.
Or whatever you want to call it. And you have to obey the government. And that is just what you do as an American.
Yeah. Apparently that was the thing. I mean, we get into the COVID, like how illiberal the whole thing was, but that we're still doing that. I mean, watching what
and then the reasons why they want to keep it in, like to use Delray Beach, for instance, like it was moronic. The reasons that these commissioners gave to keep it in the water. It was like, oh, I'll sacrifice brain health to make it more affordable for those less privileged to not have to seek dental care. Yeah. That was, and this is
here's what the other cuckoo, ready for this one? Ready for the kicker. So there was these two dentists in there who gave testimony on why it's important to have it and how they can see in people's mouths, people who have fluoride and people who don't have fluoride. They are dentists not from Delray Beach in a city where they are seeing patients who have fluoride in the water. They are dentists whose practice is in Boca who does not put fluoride in their water.
Really?
Nope.
That's interesting.
Right?
We haven't. Apparently we haven't, never have.
That's why y'all are so smart.
That's right. That's literally what I wanted to say, but I couldn't say it. But yes, the city of Boca does not put fluoride in the water. Hasn't ever.
So shout out to Mayor Carney and Angela Burns
Yeah.
for voting down
Yeah.
that for Delray
And
Beach.
boo-hoo, shame on Mark Gert, who switched his vote.
Yep.
He was the one who he was going to vote to remove it, and then switched his vote. And yeah. And also, I believe that Rob Long only voted for it because he's planning to run for state state house, and so that's the rumor on the street.
Rep Seidman?
No, because he's Delray, so it'll be an open seat because Casello terms out.
Oh, I can't wait to see what that primary looks like.
I know it's gonna be a hot primary.
Ooh,
Yeah, because that's a solid seat. So anyway, that was the rumor on the street too, that he only voted for it because he was because of that morning he had basically implied to this is the rumor again, this is all hearsay, implied to I guess their water director or someone that through the rumor mill that he was going to vote to remove it, and supposedly now got some kind of call that if he's planning to run for something else he needs to vote to keep it.
Interesting.
So interesting, right?
That is interesting.
I mean, it's very true what you say about the whole health thing, because like when I was growing up, my parents were hippie dippies and they were very conservative, and we were the weird Republican hippies because most hippies were like, live free, like no medical, question the big pharma, question all of these things. And now, like if you watch the hearings with Kennedy and Senator Warren and Senator Sanders, man, it's crazy. It's just crazy to watch it all.
The Republican Party is no longer the yacht club institutional
Nope.
standing.
We're
It
the
is
hippies now.
Blue collar and the hippies. It is the biggest tent.
It's the biggest tent, which might eat itself. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because we don't historically do well together. do well with
we're
each other.
winning.
We are winning. We're not tired of winning.
Because of the fact that we talk about things like this,
Yes.
we're actually like, come on,
Let's
people.
question things. Let's discuss it.
Like, okay, we have a $34 trillion deficit in our federal budget, but you want to complain when we're like starting to take things apart and start to see where our money goes.
And then you complain when we get mad about it.
Yeah.
We're a little ticked. I
I'm
literally
like,
don't
could
want to
you
pay
imagine-
taxes right
could
now,
you
like at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Could you imagine being a resident of like North Carolina or California or Hawaii and seeing all of this money going out through USAID and looking like
for Sesame Street in Iraq.
And you got $700.
yeah,
Yep.
and you
lost
have
your
to
home.
pay back if you have
It's a
health
loan.
insurance.
It's a loan.
Or homeowners insurance, I mean. But I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is like La La Land. And I love it because what's happening is they are just exposing themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The more average person that just sees these clips and highlights of what some of these Democrats are doing, they're
so
like
funny.
going, I'm so glad.
Dastardly
Yeah,
deeds.
they're like, I'm so glad Trump won.
Oh, thank God. They won't. I actually, right before we started, I did see like a video pop up, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, but the caption said basically like Democrat lady was like, never voting Democrat again. Like, what is happening? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
It's definitely crazy. So, bring it back to local.
Yeah.
Mike Caruso, rep for District 87, looks like he's going to be tapped in for lieutenant governor. That's some articles and stuff.
Is
that
this
have come
political
out.
suicide for him?
It's a good question.
To dissent on the Speaker of the House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
to
mean,
get tapped for lieutenant governor
his-
to a governor who's not popular with the other party members right now.
I don't think in terms of the other party it would make a difference.
Okay. The rest of the party.
What do you mean?
So like he's being okay. So all right. So let's give some context to what's going on. So those who are not following, there's a special session was called to discuss immigration, right?
Mhm.
So we're now an immigration bill was put forward, and feel free either one of you to jump in at any time and take this explanation from me.
You go ahead.
DeSantis,
Oh, thanks, Joe.
DeSantis created a bill.
DeSantis created a bill, and then it got torn apart, and by the Florida legislature, and another bill was created that didn't have the word deport in it, right? Anybody?
It did not. it provided amnesty for about 1.1 million, I believe.
And it removed the power from the governor and gave it to the Commissioner of Agriculture to enforce the rules of the bill when it came to immigration.
Yes.
So for all of these reasons, there was one Republican who voted against the bill with the Democrats, and then all of the other Republicans voted for the bill. And that one Republican was Mike Caruso. And because he voted against the bill, he got censured. Did he get officially censured?
No.
But he lost his committee seat
He
for
lost
the
his committee
Economic
seats.
Infrastructure Subcommittee.
So he lost. He's
Which was
basically
given to Chip LaMarca, so shout out to Chip LaMarca. So
basically he's being punished by the party leadership for not voting the way they wanted him to vote, even though it didn't make a difference in the actual numbers.
So DeSantis tapped him as lieutenant
So
governor.
now DeSantis, though, so therein lies my question. So by the way, the bill was passed, but was vetoed by DeSantis, so it's dead in the water. So now with that, if he gets tapped to be lieutenant governor, I mean, DeSantis terms out in a year. What happens to Caruso's career?
Who's to say?
I know. I'm just game theorying.
I will tell you a couple things about Mike Caruso.
Okay.
I don't think there are many representatives that focus on serving their constituents like he does.
I agree.
I've been around a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his dedication to his constituents and focusing on what's going on the ground is really admirable.
He's brought back so much money for his constituents.
He has his ear to the ground like nobody else.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about
and not
this
just in
issue
his
here.
district either. It's kind of pretty much Palm Beach County wide. He is very, whether it's Peggy or whether it's, Harold or whoever he's working with, he knows what's going on. And I think that that's just marvelous because he has great relationships.
He does. I really admire him as a lawmaker, as a mentor, as a friend. I think his prospects are
endless.
Truly. I don't think he'll be going away soon. Just my guess from what I've been reading. I think he's interested in serving for longer.
Yeah. No, and that was what we always knew that. We have speculated on this show before about where we think he's going to go and
higher aspirations.
What aspirations he might have, and just kind of talk it out. But
he's too good to lose.
And if he gets the lieutenant governor, how's his seat filled?
So his wife Tracy is running to succeed him.
Yes. So would that trigger a special election?
Yes.
It would have to because it's more than half the term left, right? Isn't that the rule? Half the term?
Believe so.
Yeah.
I know it is for like 4 years. It's the same for 2-year terms too, right?
I believe so because it's
yes. So go ahead.
It's different with the representatives because they have to run every 2 years.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying.
There's a cutoff, but I don't know when that cutoff is.
Debbie Mayfield just vacated her House seat to run for the Senate seat that the Secretary of State just booted her from.
Wait, can you repeat that?
This is another big breaking state issue.
Let's go. I don't know about this one.
Senator Debbie Mayfield
from
Melbourne.
Okay.
Was a 2-term state senator.
Okay.
Who reached her term limit and thus ran for Randy Fine's open seat in the State House of Representatives. They did a switcheroony.
Okay.
Right? Now that Senator Fine is running for Congress, there's going to be a special election for his Senate seat.
Okay.
So now Representative Mayfield tried to hop into the Senate race, but the Secretary of State, as of yesterday, sent her a letter disqualifying her because it is more than 8 consecutive years in that seat. And so the legal question is, being 2 months removed from your Senate seat, does it count as more than 8 consecutive years or 2 terms?
Because she's been out for 2 months.
Because she's been out for, I'm sorry. So when you are elected, you become a state senator or rep. So she was a representative from November to now. Mm-hmm. That is 4 months?
Yeah.
Roughly 4 months?
Yeah.
3 months, sorry.
3 months.
3 months.
So the question is, does that count as a break period?
Oh, because it's consecutive, so it's not consecutive.
Not consecutive, but
oh,
that's really, really
like
that is like the real deal stuff that's happening in Tallahassee as we speak.
Did she resign from her House seat to run for that Senate seat again? So is that House seat
She
open
did.
also?
She did.
Holy moly.
Because the
Remember we
the
talked about
resign
this
to run
trickle
law,
down of appointments is causing all kinds of shenanigans in Florida.
if the terms are concurrent with each other, so if the state House seat term and the state Senate term are concurrent, by the resign to run law, she had to resign
Right.
at some point, and I'm not that.
Because did she file the paperwork to run for state
I don't
Senate?
think she has to resign to run until the qualifying period is over. Is that true?
But if it's
Which
a
is
special
now.
election and it's
Right.
it's a special election, the qualifying period is different. Wait, so
Well, so the qualifying period ended 2 days ago,
oh, okay.
so it's. I guess she had
To resign in order to qualify to run for something else.
which triggers a state House seat.
Oh my
special
gosh!
election.
So she could end up with nothing.
So this
I guess she could go back and run for her seat.
she'll have
That
to
she resigned
she'll have
from.
to wait a term. No, the qualifying's over.
No,
for
Qualifying's
yeah.
But
she
if she
can't.
resigned, okay. But so here. So if we're over here
Oh,
in
I see what you're
Melbourne,
saying.
if she resigned, if
Because-
qualifying ends at Friday at noon, and she resigns from the House seat at 11:50 to qualify,
Mm-hmm.
then that would trigger over here a separate qualifying time where she could then go back over there and file to run on
Well,
that
no.
seat.
I believe.
But
I
wouldn't
need
it
a
be the
map.
same as with
I need
Matt
a thing with
Gaetz?
a red string.
We need to start getting a whiteboard.
Wouldn't it be the same as with Matt Gaetz, where he could have stayed in that seat if he wanted to?
No, because that's a different Congress that got sat. She already swore in as the House because the swearing in was done back in
Right.
December.
And
so
you-
she's already sworn into this new session.
And you are
Right.
considered in your first term November 6th.
Once you're elected.
Correct. I understand that, but why would she lose her seat?
Because she had to resign to run for the Senate seat.
I think she resigned in advance. I'm not aware
Yeah,
of the
she had to
particulars,
have.
but
She had to.
have.
If she filed to
But
run.
I think you're right. Her seat is now open, so she should.
if
be,
she doesn't get, if they say, no, you can't run for state Senate, she
which
should
she
be able
was
to go
already
back
told that she didn't qualify, so she can't.
Wow.
it's really messy.
Yeah,
This
that's a tricky
And,
thing.
So-
and her claim is that the Secretary of State should not have gotten involved because they are there's a word you're supposed to use. It's not ceremonial, but it's something like that, where they just accept your qualifying paper and it's up to your opponents to make file a complaint to get you removed from the ballot.
Did she have an opponent?
She had two, and now last minute there's a gentleman named Tim Thomas who jumped in for the seat, who is a former, I believe, Melbourne city councilor, who is now
Wow.
highly favored. Her argument is that it was not up to the Secretary of State; it was up to
Do you know? And we don't know
her
about that.
opponents.
I don't know. Do you know the rule on that?
No,
The statute? I'm sure it's a statute in the Constitution, right?
This is just what I'm reading on Twitter.
Wow. I need to follow some more accounts. You need to give us some accounts to follow.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
Will.
I-
We'll follow Peter Schorch.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys get the Florida politics texts.
No.
You
There's
should.
text?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
I think it's Substack that you go through. I'm gonna send you guys the link now.
Okay. Can we drop it in our show notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Hang
we'll
on.
put that in our show notes
And
for
so
y'all.
Peter will text you
Stuff.
and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I'm going to send this to Jean Marie. It's going to be great.
And it's probably I got 3 texts from him. Just, Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez is set to go to FIU as president.
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield goes to court, has filed a lawsuit seeking to be reinstated on the ballot in Senate District 19.
Yeah, I need this.
I'll send you guys
Okay.
the subscription now.
Yeehaw. Wow. So that is very interesting. Very interesting.
That is very interesting.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be distracted, but I need to send you this.
That's okay. So, listeners, if you have any questions about any of the things that we've discussed or comments, please weigh in because we would like to hear from you. What do you think about all of this shenanigans in the States right now?
I'll find it for you. Y'all
Okay.
can post on the social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Just do it
Thank you.
that way.
That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's so much. There's so much. When we were watching after the election, after Trump got elected and started watching all of the people he was appointing, my husband and I were like, this is this is gonna be interesting. Like, this is gonna cause some trickle down drama here in the state of Florida.
And there's still 11,000 more appointments to be made,
Oh
or
my
some
gosh.
crazy 5-digit number.
Yeah.
Really?
4 or
Yep.
5-digit number. Yeah.
Are you going up to DC, Joe?
No. You know what's funny is
It's cold up
When
there.
is the thing for when is it for Matt's seat? Because didn't he take an appointment?
Brian Mast?
Brian Mast took an appointment.
No,
He didn't take it.
Oh,
I don't think he got one.
I think he's still in the running.
It's something that hasn't been.
Maybe.
Well, so what were you gonna say about
Maybe
DC?
you've got the inside scoop.
I just thought that I saw that he'd taken a seat.
I
But
thought
that's
so too,
interesting. Really?
but
Yeah.
maybe not.
All right. I can't.
I
Google
think
it.
he was. I
We'll let
think
Jessica
he was
Google it.
supposed to be doing something with Veterans Affairs, but I think that ended up being Doug Collins instead.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Oh,
I think-
understood.
I think that was the one that he was being considered for.
Sorry to make it national, but he
That's
is also a very, very what's the word? Sought after chairmanship on House Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
Oh,
So that sweetens the pot a little bit for him to stay in Congress.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm not close with him or his team. So,
Hmm.
what was I saying about
were gonna-
DC?
DC.
It is cold.
it's cold.
I was there for the inauguration and it hit 10 degrees. Funny, 3 years ago I was in Pittsburgh. It was around 40 degrees, which for some people is nothing.
No, but we're Floridians,
I would-
and to us, it's horrible.
I was taking a job interview over Zoom for a job in DC, and I was just sitting there while the guy was talking at me, and I was really thinking about it, and I was like, "It's too cold."
It's too cold. I just can't. I just cannot.
Yeah.
Like, it's like how people, they don't
Were
understand.
you
how
born in Florida, Joe?
I was born in New York, Long Island, Port Jefferson.
But how
um,
long have you? Been
I've
Florida.
lived in Florida since I was 4 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah,
So
I thought.
I am.
I've been here since I was
warm
So
climate.
you're
5.
just
Yeah.
like two of our daughters. They were
They're spoiled.
well, actually all three because Lexi was 3 years old when we
Yeah,
moved here.
our
We're
oldest
spoiled.
was 6, so
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
and younger.
I was 5 when we moved here. I'm a Floridian, and come at me, bro.
Yeah, some people like the seasons. I'll take the heat all day, all night.
I'll
Yeah,
take the
me
heat
too.
because you just hide in the house.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
great. You just sit by the air conditioning or by the pool all day, and there we go. And we have what we have right now, which is the most amazing weather. I was out
Yeah.
for a walk today, and it was gorgeous, just sunny and
So
great.
I just want to remind everybody, so be on the lookout for that special election for Rep. Caruso's seat if he's tapped into that lieutenant governor.
'cause
So
those special elections sneak up on you.
and our previous co-host Tracy Caruso is going to be running for that seat. So
Yes.
keep an eye out and watch her. She's going to do great things.
Yes. That is gonna be so that's wow. I know my mom.
And then when is
People.
the one for Gates' seat?
April 1st.
So that one's April 1st.
And that's
Is there
isn't
like
what's his
3
name?
or 4 of them or no?
Yeah, I think that's Patronus, Fine, and
And
yeah.
now the Senate seat and House seat.
Yep.
hmm
But the Senate seat was filled because that was Moody.
He's saying state.
The state that
States.
Debbie Mayfield in
Right.
Melbourne.
States in
Yeah.
it. Are there any others?
Another shout out to Ashley Moody. She is rocking
Yes.
it.
Oh, at the Senate?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. She is freaking the bomb diggity. I'm just saying. I'm like, I have a crush on her now. She's just been phenomenal. The shout outs that she did for Pam Bondi and the things that she's brought to light that has happened in Florida.
Yeah, congrats, Pam Bondi,
Oh
man.
my
So
gosh.
excited.
Amazing.
We're having some
Absol-
very good representation
Oh
in
my
DC,
goodness.
Florida,
Yes.
our Florida people. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie. I mean, like I said, like my husband and I were like, "Where's it gonna cost him crazy?" He's like, "But Florida's awesome. You just got to take all
Yeah.
the Florida people." I was like, "I know, we can't go."
And for a political nerd here, this shakeup is seismic.
Yeah, you're like, "Yes,
so
let's
excited
go."
about
We're
everything.
so excited. We're just like, "What? We're gonna need popcorn."
Yeah.
Like, let's
yeah.
watch it. We're watching what happens.
It's so interesting. It's like you're, like they say the 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon or whatever. It's like I'm like, ooh, I'm one step closer to like the governor. Like
Yeah.
I know. Like I have these people's cell phone numbers.
Well,
I can talk to these people.
Your local state rep is now a congressman or whatever
Right.
who's
Yeah.
now running for Senate. I mean, I hear now that I'm on the state committee, I hear stories about how Marco Rubio, when he was just a state House rep from Miami, he ran for state committeeman. I don't know the timeline, but he was the state committeeman while he was speaker, and everybody knew him when. And so that helps him really consolidate support to run for Senate. You know, all politics is local.
Yep.
Yes.
We see these talking heads on TV. We don't believe they're real people.
Right.
Yep.
But they you know.
But
you
they
never know.
are real people.
But they are real people.
We know Joe LaFauci.
We know
well.
LaFauci. We know. I can't talk.
I don't think I would ever aspire to public office.
Bull.
No, truly. It's
He's kind of like us. He likes to be behind the scenes. a little bit
Kingmaker.
more.
I like to have fun.
Yeah.
And especially with a couple of the stories I've told in public about, like, I don't know if it played very well. So, no, it's all in good fun, and I'm just very goofy, and you know, I'm not interested in going through the ringer.
You don't want your name on there.
Well, the thing of it is, and especially in Palm Beach County, why would you run? You know, it's like we treat our Republican officials and our candidates like crap.
Yeah.
You know, they are bullied, they are smeared, they are mocked, they are treated like crap, whether
They're
they
screamed
win
at
or
with their
they
fingers
lose.
pointed in people's
Yeah.
their faces.
I hope the Carusos are watching right now, because I'm about to get on my soapbox here. Do we remember when the REC censured him?
Yes, we do.
Right, over some silly business in a primary, and now he is the saving grace for grassroots in Florida.
Yeah.
And
It's
now
very
and
interesting.
now all of the people who were ranting and raving about how he does not belong here are silent. There's no apology.
No.
There's nothing.
No.
Now
I was
he's
one
just-
of those who did not like it, and I will say, I wasn't screaming in people's faces,
Sure,
but
sure.
I didn't like what he did, and I did say stuff about it, but I do realize that was I understand a lot more about politics now than I did before, quite honestly. And so I
Right, and that's the
understand
thing, and that's the thing is what I really realize in our REC, and I'm not trying to degrade anybody, but it's like their incompetence is destructive and it's dangerous because of the fact that they don't know how it works. They don't understand
The game.
the political game and apparatus and how it's played here, especially in a purple county. So we cut off our nose to spite our face all the freaking time because of the fact that they don't understand how things work. It's like, Commissioner Woodward is a good example. Right now, there's a lot of people that are unhappy with her in the Republican apparatus. But however, it's like, the alternative was worse, who now claims to be a Republican.
Yeah.
So it's like if she lost, that's what would be there pushing Democrat policies. He'd still be a Democrat. Like we'd still be in a terrible situation. So it's like, is she perfect? No. None of them are.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are.
They're
But
people, and it's a game, and it's a very, very stressful game.
And there's a lot of things that, we all know because we've all been in the county commission. We understand how many things happen in, they want to say, and I've been there firsthand where I have seen, commissioners yelling at staff or demanding things from staff. They're not going to do that on the dais. That's not when they do that. They do it in their agenda reviews and their meetings with staff, and that's when they push back. So to say that our Republican commissioners don't do anything for the county, that I'm calling bullcrap. That is absolute bullcrap because that is not what happens. That's just your bird's eye view, and then you're not looking and communicating with your commissioners to find out what's really happening.
Yep, absolutely. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. No.
We need
we
some
have
clapping,
applause?
Stu. Come on. It's very true.
But seriously, we got to do the pause thing with the sunglasses and like.
Yes. Exactly.
I tell people this in the REC all the time. I say, 80%, my friend, is not 20% my enemy. The Reagan
That's right.
principle.
Mm-hmm.
And some people just do not understand. They live for the pitchforks. And
Mhm.
listen, I
That's
understand how you can be passionate about a certain issue, but let's look at the entire spectrum here.
Right.
Of one single politician. They're going to serve the party, right? Because that is the ideology that is most aligned with how they can best help other people.
Right.
Sometimes you have to work with the other side and make, you know what I mean?
Ben Shapiro talks about this really, really well. Because
Okay.
that was the second time I mentioned him tonight. I don't listen to him all the time. I listen to him sometimes because sometimes his voice really annoys me. But he talks about how this specific thing and how, especially in the Republican pundit world and in the Republican political world, the ones that are active, like the REC members are active, but not actually active in like the understanding of how it works. So they're like still like they know just enough to be dangerous, and that they don't understand how you kind of have to work through things and take, like, you cannot be completely black and white on every single issue, or you lose every single issue. You can pick your issues that you're black and white on and say, these are the ones that I'm not, and then here's where I can move and here's where I can have great. But like, I feel like that in our Republican world, people are so, like you said, they want their pitchforks. They're like, this person's bad, therefore they disagree with me. They're like Democrats, and I say this all the time. Therefore, they disagree with me. Therefore, they're a bad person.
I think the fact that we have Republican electeds in Palm Beach County now is probably still kind of new to us.
Yes, it is. It is.
And we don't know what to do.
Nobody knows what to do with them. They
and it's not good enough.
It's
Whatever
not good
it is, it is not good enough.
And they have the audacity to do blah, 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 and therefore they're a rhino.
And
rhino, I've been called, people make, I don't care anymore.
I'm the rhino now.
It's like calling me a racist. I don't care anymore. Call me a racist. I'm not a racist. Call me a rhino. I'm not a rhino. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Big mean words.
I asked someone because, you know, they
Sticks
were
and
like,
stones may break my bones.
Names will never harm me.
I asked someone a simple question, and this is someone on leadership, not on our executive board, but somebody on leadership. I said, oh, you have an issue with what X dignitary did in Palm Beach County. Have you talked to them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm still very new to all this. Oh, okay, got it. So you just want to join the mob because you have a place to be and a place to vent your frustration. Go knock doors. Make phone calls. We're in municipal season. We got 30 days left, and this is what you want to talk about.
This is what you want to do. Go do something productive. Go find a hobby.
Yep.
That's my other thing, too. I'm like, you guys need to find something else to do in life.
For this stuff.
But not in the healthy way like we do, even though, like we actually take action. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. And if you don't like one, go help the other more. Like, that's it. Move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Move on.
You know,
now's not the time for the litmus test and for clearing out, purging the 4 Republicans that we got elected in the last 3 years.
Let's not do that. Let's not alienate them either.
And the thing that I've always said is, it's like, you know, I got a lot of heat in the primary because of my, you know, the primary candidates that I preferred over other candidates and whatever. And I'm like, you want me to like your candidate? Then tell your candidate to be a better candidate.
Yep.
Like, if they, like, for one, like, if I'm so influential and I'm going to make or break their race, then why wouldn't they want to come and talk to me and have a conversation and be a better candidate? But instead, they want to trash me and, oh, she doesn't know anything and, you know, she's a rhino and all of this kind of stuff.
Has no plans for anything local.
Yeah, I have no plans, no political experience whatsoever.
I found
Sorry.
that
Oh, man.
humility, no matter what confrontation you're going through, whether it be as a candidate or as a super supporter of a candidate, whatever you're trying to navigate generally in life, humility is always number one.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
If you can walk up to somebody, I had on my campaign a major detractor that spewed the name Rhino, said the mafia was backing me.
The mafia.
It was like wild. And
Was that
I
person
see
a rhino,
her.
really?
What's that?
Was the person that was calling you a rhino really a rhino?
That's the real question, is who's to say, right?
Right.
Because everyone's a rhino now. I see her at an early voting location like 3 days before the election, and we're all starting to pack up. And she sees me, and she looks away. And she's passing out flyers with my opponent on it. I'm like, all right, let's have some fun.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I walk up, and I am incredibly nice, and you know, I hear her out, and she pulls out a mailer of mine that, you know, she was real upset about, and it was all positive. I don't know what the deal was. I think it was like talking about a bad endorsement that she didn't like, and I talked through some of her concerns about what the party's going through and things like that, and by the end of it, it was vote for Joe. Yelling at cars, vote for Joe. She's like, I know his opponent's on here, but like he's cool too, so like it's fine.
Like, take your pick.
But and this is not like a tap myself on the back moment. It's just that if we all took a second to breathe and just sit down and say, maybe I'm not 100% right in all of this.
Self-reflection.
Humility and reflection
Yeah.
and self-awareness. There's just not enough.
There's not enough.
That is my soapbox.
You know, and that to my downfall, but because of my years of personal development, like that's my first go-to. So it's like if somebody criticizes me, I'm like, oh, maybe that's true. I need to look to see where that's true. I question that before I go and attack, you know. And I'm like, you know, and to have that humility and to be able to have that conversation, but also to be able to push back and say, look, I hear you, but you're a bad candidate. I'm sorry. That's just the way that it is. You know, like it's not personal, it's politics. And that's the biggest thing that and they run from emotion. Everything is emotional. And politics, you cannot be emotional and be successful.
Be effective, yeah.
And be effective in politics. You just can't. You have to take the emotions out of it. You have to look at the procedural aspects to be able to get the results that you want. And that was the thing that I would get so angry because I would see REC members and Republicans go up to the dais in Palm Beach County and start yelling and screaming at our county commissioners and telling them all of this stuff and you know, you work for me type of things. And it's like, but if you want results, and it was, you know, about that time, it was about elections, right? And it's like, if you want results, you have to do it legislatively. You have to do that. You're asking a peer to basically tell another peer that they don't know how to do their job. And that was what they were asking the county commission to do with the supervisor of elections, Wendy Link. They were asking a peer of Wendy Link to say she's doing a crappy job when they had no proof, no evidence, nothing. She was elected by the people. So in the county commission's eyes, the voters are the ones to hold her accountable, not the county commission. And it was like pulling teeth trying to get a lot of our REC members and stuff to understand that. I'm like, you don't understand. Everybody on the 12th floor is laughing at you. They think you're hilarious.
They think you're crazy.
They think you're crazy.
Like, they're like, oh, the crazy people. Like, that's literally what they say. Yeah. Like, and you know what? If you're just watching the meetings, you're like, oh, these people are crazy. Now, granted, I have probably been accused of being the crazy person at a county commission meeting, but to be fair, it was a different situation. They were doing stuff that they could. It was a direct result of the choices that the county commissioners.
Which we would still be under if we wouldn't have gotten involved and gotten new commissioners
That's
elected.
correct. We would be in danger of that happening at any drop of a hat.
You know what I wish I was on the county or like with the county commission for is this Kerner WTF incident.
Oh, that was a fun one. I was there for that.
I watched the video.
Oh, it was fun.
I couldn't stop laughing, like, just because it's like, oh my God, did he really?
He did
in front of a constituent.
He did. He totally did it.
And
they tried to pass it off that he didn't. Oh, he did.
And then when he departed the commission, they
Yes.
brought WTF.
I have one.
That's so classic. And you know what's great?
It was fun.
He laughed at the joke.
Yeah.
Like it was a whole story,
Yeah,
right?
it became a whole thing. He tried to deny it. So for those who don't know, so he was sitting at the thing and the dais, and actually a friend of mine was giving a speech, and she paused and she said, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You just flashed up a sign that said WTF on it while I'm talking to someone else." So he had held up. It was like a notepad so he claimed he was just showing a note to the lawyer who was like down the dais,
saying he received it or something,
just like some kind of passing a note or whatever. And we're all like, no, you don't.
So
like
on the backside it had WTF.
And it becomes public record at that point.
And it was public. It was like a notepad that was like had WTF, and it had like little lines where you would write like notes. So it was like a notepad, and he like held it up to her, and it went, and she saw it. Oh yeah, all hell broke loose.
Really?
It was fun. That was a fun one. Yeah. So one of the girls had T-shirts made that said WTF Kerner on them, and gave them to him when he left.
That's so
Gave
good.
them to him when he left.
And he
good.
took it in stride. I heard
did.
it, so that's really cool.
He did. He was.
He had a little humility there.
Well,
A
you
little
know, he
bit
was on his way
You
out.
gotta laugh
So
at yourself. Listen, everybody makes mistakes.
he didn't laugh at himself too much. He took himself a little too seriously, but that's during all of that. But that's a different time. That was a different time.
Thank goodness.
Thank God that's over. But oh my gosh, what a crazy time that was.
Yeah.
Um,
And thankfully, all of the commissioners that are on the dais right now, I don't think any of them would allow anything like that to happen again. I really do.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that any of them would not. I believe there are ones that would, for sure. If we were to go back and we have the same commission, we would see a lot more pushback from some of the commissioners, but there are at least 2 or 3 on that commission that would definitely be lockstepping with that.
Maybe two.
No, 2 or 3. maybe 4. Yeah. I
hope
won't name any
that's not
names
true.
now, but you can ask me later which ones I think. But definitely 2, potentially 3 or 4. But thank God we're not in that position, and thank God we do have the ones that will push back.
Yeah.
There. So
For now, they're up for re-election in 2026.
yeah,
so
so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the party by then. If the party, I don't want to get too much into that. But
I mean, the
so
party overall or the party just in Palm Beach County?
no, the party in Palm Beach County.
Well, one
Listen.
thing I do want to say is about the party is one thing that Caruso is so successful, but he's never needed the REC
Nope.
for anything,
So
and that says something.
to the credit of our chairman and vice chairman, newly elected, they are willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's very, very divided. And I've had time to work with them on the board. And there is definitely a lot that we do not agree on, that we have to work through and
Find
ultimately
our humility and middle ground.
I have to defer to them because I actually have no executive power. So I'm just a vote on the board. But they're willing to work with me, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. They've actually given me the opportunity to serve as the election operations chair for these
Woohoo!
municipal elections. So I'm very
So
excited
something
to
might
see how
actually
we
get done.
Something's gonna get done. I was gonna say, so maybe I'll rejoin that process then, because I wasn't about to.
Well, shameless plug here. If y'all are interested in volunteering on election operations, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're actually doing a call-a-thon next Saturday, the 15th of February. Wow, we're already here.
Yeah.
To encourage those who have previously requested their vote by mail ballots to request them again.
Ooh. Okay.
This way, we give our municipal candidates a greater opportunity to chase ballots,
Mm-hmm.
specifically Republican ones. And a lot of what I'm going to do is, to your point of the Caruso has never needed the REC, well, I want to provide as much net value to our candidates as possible.
Yeah.
I started as a campaign staffer
Mm-hmm.
for Jackie Toledo, for the governor, whoever else. And my number one issue was the REC is not doing enough for us.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the other side of that now, I'm like, okay, well, here's our opportunity. Why don't we just provide as much net value to these candidates as possible?
Right.
We do a couple of sprays, things that we can help everybody with,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our vote by mail chase, texts, and whatever the party can provide in terms of mail or election ops, and then send our volunteers on their way. The candidate will tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We need bodies in a room. We need bodies knocking doors. Go that way.
Yeah, my biggest thing is the party is not educating the voters by doing like the text like vote by mails and just giving them little snippets of information to be able to be successful in setting them up so that, all of a sudden March 11th comes around and they're like, oh, there's a municipal election. I had no idea. So it's like that's kind of shame on us as far as a party, as far as I'm concerned, by not getting that information out. I mean, there's responsibility on the voters as well. But if you're a registered voter, we have your information. So and it takes money and it takes a lot of volunteers
Bodies.
to be able to make it work, but it's like we really need to create that value within the party by focusing on exactly like what you said, Joe, is that messaging, and then getting people to volunteer instead of just sitting and complaining and yelling that they're not happy. It's like, well, what are you Joe's hit the nail right on the head. It's like, well, what are you going to do about it? You can sit there and yell and complain and, do everything else, except for you're not actually helping and contributing to getting better results.
Drama and noise does not equal progress.
That's right.
That is good. That should go on a T-shirt.
I'll
I
make
think
them
you should-
for our next REC.
I think you should do that for your next RC meeting. Be like, this is our new uniform.
This is our new faction of the party.
Yes. Do something. Mission. It's just what I said from the very beginning. Mission focus.
Yeah.
What is the mission of the REC? And if
Yeah.
you are not doing something to contribute to that mission, then what are you doing?
And you know what I like about our new chairman's mentality is, he's like, do you want to do election operations? I said, sure. He goes, all right, go ahead.
Have fun.
But you know what? He gave me he said, okay, obviously you can reach out and I'll help you with whatever you need with, but the floor is yours. Like, this is your tapestry to create. And so it's it's a lot of pressure in a municipal setting.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that, Joe, because the last 3 chairmen, that's exactly what they've done. They have not been organized. They have not led. They just put people where they think that they should, and then it's all on them. They get no help, they get no support, they get no direction. It's here. I mean, that was me as a regional director for 3 years. No support, no oversight, I had to just kind of come up with it all on my own with no guidance from the party, and I think that sucks. And
then when you were successful, they didn't
credit.
They took credit.
Oh yeah, it was all, I mean, the entire election operation teams got flowers, but none of the regional directors did. So it's things like that it's like, you could tell those that were about it for their own kudos and those that were really trying to work and benefit the party. But, that's
it works when you have people in place like you who are going to actually execute, and you have the experience to do that. The problem with that is the mode of leadership, and we'll see, because he's new, so we'll see if he's trusting you with it because he knows you can handle it. But if he's doing that in other positions and in other jobs with people who are not as experienced, who don't know what they're doing, and he's not providing any type of doing. He's not, and if there's not any type of direction or accountability or anything, then there's going to be some massive holes and stuff. So obviously a big one is election operations, and so that's really good. I'm so glad it's you, because we'll actually get shit done.
Well, and that's what I'd be concerned
with.
That's what I love about you, Joe, and Jody being on there, because we didn't have strong state committeemen and women before to actually kind of pull that directive from the RPOF and push it out to us as members to let us kind of know, like, oh, okay, this is where we can collaborate. This is where the consensus is. These are the issues that we can unite, and then the candidates then should be united around those issues, and then the REC members push out to get our candidates elected. And that's just not, we've never had that before, because of the fact there's always been this disconnect between us and the RPOF. So it's like we're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off trying to figure out everything that's going on. And that's why I think it's so important. You and Jody both are knocking it out of the park already. I mean, we've gotten more information from you guys in the last 3 months than we did in 4 years.
Dude, I didn't even know what a state committee man or a state committee woman was. For like that first year and a half, I was in the REC, because they either never talked or never did anything that communicated any information, or were there. There was many times I was like, oh, I mean,
Jody's putting legislative updates in the wire.
I know.
Let me
just
tell you
love
something about Jody Schwartz.
That woman is a machine.
She is on it. Jody, if you're watching, we love you very much. You are amazing. So we kind of have an interesting work split cut for us, where Jody is actually handling a lot of the legislative affairs. So she is up in Tallahassee nonstop. She's helping candidates like Randy Fine around the state, and doing a whole slew of things. But number one is she is watching session or committee weeks like a hawk. And I think that contributes to our being a great team. In that I can handle things on the ground here, and she can handle the legislative affairs, right? Not to say that's always going to be the same thing, but I think that we found a really good way to tag team with each other.
And those are two things that we have been missing in the party altogether. And that was the one, one of the big things that I focused on in our region meetings and stuff is the legislative aspects, whether it was state or county or municipal. Is it's like we need to understand, we need to know what is going on in these areas and these issues, because the Democrats pick the narrative. And so if we're not aware and hypervigilant of the issues and what the constituents are really concerned with, that's why we lose, because the Democrats pick the narrative and it's done. They take their talking points and there's no rebuttal. All Republicans do is smash them and smear them and tell them they suck because they have a D behind their name, and the voters don't buy it. They're like, oh, no, this is, I like that person.
I'll give you one example. Our county commissioner, Sarah Baxter, was one of 7 to vote no on a bloated $8 billion budget, right? Again, the 80-20 rule. Let's think about it. Does anybody even know that? No. But, there's a slew of other things they want to attack her for. And I think that We need balance, and we need people that can amplify a lot of the accomplishments that we're making.
Yep.
Because I think information is the greatest thing that will unify us moving forward.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing we lack as a party too. Like there's not information going out on our socials. There's not emails going out giving people this information.
Dude, I saw someone
there's The Wire, but
I saw someone I saw someone post on X that about what county was it? Collier County? One of the neighboring counties did a resolution about USAID.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was you guys? Am I quoting this correctly? What was it?
there was one that came out for
It wasn't USAID. Hold on.
No, it was
Here it is.
It was the immigration bill.
Was it the no? It was it was the immigration bill. What am I talking about? USAID. There's so many things bouncing around in my head. Okay, so
too much winning.
Too much winning. The winning is just making me loopy.
We can't even keep up.
I found the post. Okay, so Collier County did a resolution about the immigration bill, and that basically condemning or coming against the Florida legislature's support of a bill that did not have any word deportation in it. So they did a 2-page resolution, published, boom. So someone posted it saying, come on, Broward County GOP, let's do this. And then someone posted and said, called the Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee around 1:30. This was a couple days ago. No plans to issue a statement, if any, at the moment. Was told there was an executive meeting. Somewhat indicated the topic would come up for discussion, and not much to say. They was basically they didn't have any plans to do anything about it.
Probably didn't even know about it.
That's something that we can do.
Right.
Well,
and that was my thing too, is I wanted to see more resolutions, more strong resolutions coming from the party, because that's what tells our voters that we're working
to
for
the voters that we're doing something.
Yeah.
Other than knocking on their door whenever it's which was good, but it communicates that we're paying attention to what's happening and we're active in the political world. So it'd be good to see some stuff like that. I don't think I'm of the camp. I go back and forth on resolutions. I'm of the camp that I feel like sometimes it's a waste of time, especially when it turns into a yelling match in the room where you got people who, again, don't understand what we're doing. But
how to do it.
But reading through the comments on this does communicate and tell me that it does help the Republicans, the lay Republicans, as I kind of call them, as the ones who aren't active in the REC, but do see the stuff and do pay attention to what the Republican Party is doing, see that we're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why.
Well said.
Thanks. We're very soapboxy tonight, aren't we?
I know.
A little bit.
Like really passionate.
Very ranty. Let's go get it all out.
The thing of it is we have to expose it in order to make it better. It's I mean
that's the goal.
I put my hat in the ring because I was willing to help make it better, and I didn't win. That's true, and but I'm still working on things and trying to make it better. I'm still involved. I'm still a member. I'm part of the election operations team. I'm CD22 vice chair.
Woo! Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Could you explain that, please? I'm in the presence of all the chair committee people. I need to defer to them for it to be explained.
Royalty.
I'll tell you what. At those
Chairmanships?
RPOF meetings, all you got to do is walk into a room and you're a chairman of something.
Really?
There's so many.
I love it. I want to be a chairman of something.
No. I'm joking. Actually, it is an incredible achievement because. So I'll dive more into the pyramid of how the RPOF and the RNC works.
Yes, please do.
I'll just cut out the RPOF part. So as your state committee man, me and Jody, your committee woman, will go and represent you at a quarterly meeting of the Republican Party of Florida. From there are 2 committees, right? So if you are elected as a chair, committee man, or committee woman, you are on the executive committee of the state, which consists of 251 members.
It's a big committee.
That is chairmen and women, committee men and women, all of the appointees. So I think the governor gets 10, the Speaker of the House gets 10, and the President of the Senate gets 10. And then obviously the governor and lieutenant governor and all the congressmen sit on the committee. Above that is a governing board, right? I'll backtrack. I'm sorry. This committee of 251 people votes 1 time a year.
For?
For items that the executive board puts together, and they meet 4 times a year to vote on whatever topics come up.
Comparable in a county, that would be like our creative or what's the word I want to say? Like our legislative ideals, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So like on a county level, we give our legislative, what's that called?
Request updates?
No, I just
agenda.
I just talked about it. Last time.
I know.
The legislative session where we're like the county gives like all of their things,
Recommendations, what they want to have happen.
Yes. And it goes to the bigger group to ratify.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So the executive board puts together proposals, and that consists of the chairman of the party, Evan Power, who was just reelected by like a 90% margin.
Okay.
We're very excited. I supported him. We have a new vice chair named Javante Teague. He is the chairman from Dixie County.
Is he the one that wears
He's
the
the cowboy hat.
Yes, cowboy hat. And then the 4 other board members. Additionally, on the executive board, each congressional district gets a chairman that represents their respective district. So in Palm Beach County, we have 4 congressional districts. We have District 21, we have District 22, we have District 23, and we have 20. Palm Beach County took chairmanships of 2 of those districts. So we represent those districts, those congressional districts of constituencies to the executive board of the party.
Okay.
I was elected chairman of District 22 to the executive board, and Ms. Jansen over here, Vice Chair Jansen, was elected to be the vice chair of the caucus.
Who votes? Congratulations.
So who votes? Who votes? So it's kind of
So you're
fun.
elected. So who votes for that election?
I'll give you mine as an example. I reside in District 22.
Okay.
So District 22 is only in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
Which means only the committee people and appointees from Palm Beach County can vote on that seat, right?
Okay.
Now, we share District 23 with Broward County.
We do.
And so all of the appointees and committee members from both counties get to vote on that seat.
Okay.
And so you'll have like District 1, which represents like 8 counties. You'll have each
That's
county
a
has
real
3
election.
people, and plus appointeers. It's like you're dealing with a real caucus.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15, 21 people sometimes.
Okay.
Luckily, there was just 4 of us. So,
Which is unique because
yes.
our county is so large.
yes.
You know,
So
and our
you have to
population
live
is
in
so
the
large.
district that you're elected to?
So because I live in District 22 and I am the sole resident of District 22, I got preference by default.
Okay.
I still got voted in unanimously.
Okay.
But in District 20, which we share with Broward,
Right.
that one's up for grabs because nobody lives there.
Right.
And so
It's like
you
the
know,
Wild Wild West
sometimes
in that
those things,
district.
you have to broker, you got to dogfight a little bit because you got
You got to play politics.
6 people, that have to figure out which one person is going to take that seat. District 20 ultimately ended up going to Jody Schwartz, who is our state
Congratulations, Jody.
Yes. Who is and vice chair of District 20 is our chairman in the county, Carl Cassio.
All right.
Yes. And
Who's in 23? Because that's my
23
district.
is Michelle Merrill.
Oh,
who is
okay.
the state committee woman from Broward County.
So the chair of Breck didn't snag it?
I don't believe he did. He got vice chair of District 24, which
Okay.
is a southern Broward County
Yeah.
seat.
That was the one that Crissetti ran in.
Probably.
And just to clarify,
That's
the words I was
Debbie
looking
Washington
for was
Schultz.
legislative agenda.
I said agenda.
Yeah, you were right.
Okay.
So,
I was like,
I
is that? But then I was like
apologize.
questioning myself. Is that right? I don't know.
just for the record.
Okay. Legislative agenda.
Yeah.
Sorry to nerd out, but that is
This is
kind
what
of
we do here.
how the structure works.
That's awesome.
Nobody knows.
No.
I
Okay.
didn't know until like 3 months before I got elected. Someone started, like a former chairman came up to me and was
You're like, I
okay.
need this written out in a flow chart.
Yeah,
please."
they're like, you should start thinking about your executive board seat. And
You're
I'm
like, what's that?
All right.
So we have 22 and 20 is you and Jody.
Mm-hmm.
23 is somebody from Broward.
Michelle Merrill.
So
She's the
Wasn't
state
there-
committee
isn't
woman
there
from
one
Michelle.
more?
21, which went to 21 is Northern Palm Beach County,
That's
Martin
Brian Matt's
County,
seat, right?
and St. Lucie County.
Okay.
Anthony Bana is the state committee man from St. Lucie, so he already has he is the chair of the state committeeman and committeewoman's caucus, which gets a seat on the executive board. He's out. You have James Campo, who's the state committee man from Martin County. He's the assistant treasurer, already on the executive board. He's out. You have, who do we have? Laura Roscoe, who was a great supporter of Anthony Bana. Patty Marchese, who is the chairwoman of Martin County, got the seat, but there were really only 3 potential candidates.
After the other ones were weeded out.
You work these things out beforehand. Everybody ended up supporting Patty, so done deal, unanimous by the time we got there.
And you got vice chair of the caucus, correct?
The state committeeman and committeewoman's caucus. Yes, that was a fun one, man.
That's huge.
That's really cool. What does that mean?
Exactly. It's like a whole. So again, we have 3 caucuses on the RPOF executive committee.
Explain what a caucus is for our listeners.
A caucus is a group of members that represent a certain interest or geographic area, right? So all the committeemen and committeewomen caucus in one group together. They vote together, in theory. The chairmen have a caucus. They vote together in theory, or they rather have similar interests, right, in how things work. And then the appointees have a caucus.
Okay.
So all of the governors and speakers and Senate presidents people. And so someone told me to throw my hat in the ring for vice chair of the committeeman's caucus. They said, we haven't heard of anybody running. And then I get a second-term committeewoman that runs against me. She's in her 5th year as a committeewoman. And as I bring her up, like it's the day of, and I bring her up to the person who said, hey, you should run, Joe. And he goes, and I was like, and here I am all day trying to whip votes and talk to my committee people, and you've got chairmen and all these people who are like, you're gonna have a lot of hands to shake, and I'm sitting there and I work on my speech all day, and I ask one of our state representatives, Mike Caruso, who came out for me and introduced me, and then Sean Foster, who is the state committee man from Pasco, nominated me. So Sean gets up, Caruso gives a great speech. He practically does a cartwheel onto the stage, little vivacity and energy. And somehow I got up there and Jesus took the wheel on my speech. It was very, like, I hate to pat myself on the back, but it was pretty good. And
I heard you were phenomenal.
I ran away with it. So it was very unexpected. It was definitely an upset, and I'm very grateful to serve. A lot of the things I mentioned on my campaign for this seat as state committeeman, I want to bring to statewide, all committeemen and women, which is we don't have any obligation aside from showing up to 3 of the 4 quarterly events, right? We have the flexibility with no obligation to the REC to operate, whether that be independently or in conjunction with your REC. I got elected to an REC board that was less than welcoming to me. It's obviously changed now, but I had to operate independently from the day I got elected to election day for the general. I didn't have any really responsibility because I wasn't a committeeman yet, but I said, let's get to work. Yeah. And if I don't have a REC board that's going to work with me, I'm going to go out on my own. We did that. Jody and I raised like $60,000. We did a whole grassroots campaign to turn out the vote for Peggy Gossett-Seidman and Gloria Branch and Sam Stern. 2 of those 3 got elected.
Sam should have got elected.
Sam should have gotten elected. But I found that a lot of committee people around the state have that same issue, where they're either just not meshing with their board, or they want to find creative ways to make things happen. And as someone who ran campaigns before, I can kind of help them and guide them and bring speakers in and maybe talk to Not to say that I'm more experienced than most of the people there, because a lot of people have been there for 20 years.
Yes, but there's a big difference between being experienced to showing up at meetings, and no offense to anybody who does this, because you definitely need to do it, and sitting outside of a polling location handing out materials, and being a campaign strategist and having worked for 10 years on campaigns and actually done all of the behind the scenes and the nitty gritty and the strategy and the working, but after someone gets elected, how that works, what do you do in government, how to work, big difference in experience. So don't sell yourself short.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope to bring my insights to them so that everyone can operate in their respective counties. Yeah. Versus just going to the meetings and saying, oh, my board won't work with me. What do I do?
Is that a big problem? Like the boards don't want to work with? Is there a lot of animosity between, not animosity, but like
A lot of counties. I have
why?
found a lot of counties. Because conceptually, actually, I guess in reality, I should say, the committee people and the chairman are equal. One is elected by the county REC, and the other two are elected by the people.
That's what I was going to say.
There's a power struggle.
Okay.
But
So
the
I
only
was say it's
authority-
competitive. It's competition.
I mean,
Yeah.
technically, if you think about it, the state committee man and the state committee woman should have more authority
They
just
should.
because of the fact you're elected by the voters and the chairman is not.
Well, and you know, ultimately, I think the balance of that, of not having the executive authority on the REC, is that we don't have to get elected by 120 people
right.
Right.
who may have very skewed ideas towards one direction.
As
right?
we've seen.
Like, I'm much more comfortable in serving constituents and trying to get things done
Right.
for 60,000 that vote,
Right.
because you know it's a campaign. It's a real campaign of people who are otherwise uninformed, that you can say, hey,
Here's my list of
here's
accomplishments.
my case.
Right.
Instead of being a part of the group of 100 people that already know who you are and already have made a judgment against you
or bias.
either way.
Have their pitchforks or support signs. One or the other.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I honestly prefer,
Yeah.
you know, being able to serve at the pleasure of the board, but also act independently if I want to, because the responsibility, you know, it's on me to serve.
Because there's
and
nothing
to
they
get
can do if they
Republican
don't like
victories.
anything you do.
You're
Right.
also you're serving as
You're serving at the pleasure of the
people.
voters.
Yes, the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I can find any way I want to be effective, which is very exciting to me. It's like
Yeah.
a blank canvas, you know.
Yeah.
Especially with somebody with your stature and experience. That's amazing.
Very sweet.
So
And speaking of, we do have a comment.
Ooh,
we
let's
have a
go.
comment from Jerry. Love this. What a great guest you have. Very knowledgeable and handsome.
Hi, Aunt Jerry. How are you?
oh
And
we
I
don't
said, "Thanks,
disagree,
Jerry."
Jerry.
We agree.
Yeah, we agree.
And hi, Mom.
Hi, Renee.
My mother is
Renee.
a huge fan of the show.
Yes.
And
we
I
love
told
her.
her I was going to be on tonight, and she got all excited and apparently invited all of her sisters.
Yay! I love it. Hopefully, like, are they together? Maybe they're all watching together,
they might
drinking
be.
wine, because
They
that
might
would be awesome. That's the vision I have in my head.
That would be phenomenal.
That would be great.
We want pictures.
Yes, please.
no,
Please, please.
where's Pasco County?
Pasco County is just north of Hillsborough, so it's about like 30
Do you
minutes.
So
have
it's on
the
the west
map
side.
of the whole all the counties in your head?
I'm from Tampa, so
Oh,
So
okay.
it's on the west side of the state.
yes, West Coast.
I
And
was
where's
ex-
Dixie County?
Dixie County. Oh, that's
That's up by Tallahassee, is that not
probably.
correct?
It's
I
like
think
Panhandle-ish.
If I remember when we went
Way
to
down
the
south in Dixie?
meeting at the Hard Rock, when we went there, I want to say he was there and he was saying that he was up close to the Georgia border or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
probably. My Panhandle geography is not that great. I know
Okay.
there's like Gadsden somewhere, and then Leon,
uh-huh.
because I went to school in Tallahassee, but that's it.
So this last weekend, we were at a wedding in Homestead, which, by the way, Florida's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Takes forever to get to Homestead.
Oh my gosh, forever. So we were like, it was a family wedding, so we have all these cousins and stuff. So I'm like trying to explain to them, because we met in Miami with all the family, and then we went out to Homestead to get ready for the wedding. So we're in Miami, and so I'm explaining to some of the cousins. I'm like, so where are you guys staying? And they're like, they like told me the name of the town. I think they were in like Coconut Grove or something like that. I'm like, okay, so this is Florida. It's like, here's where we live. Here's where Miami is. Here's where Homestead is. And here's like,
I've seen
the hand.
Michigan.
I stole it because I was like, if they can have a hand, we can
We
have
can
the fingers.
That's
So like
interesting.
this, it helped because my kids like this. I have to do this for the kids when we've like been traveling to like when we went to
Yeah.
Alabama. I'm like, okay, so we're here and we're gonna go up here and Jackson, and then like Jacksonville's over here and Tampa's here. I mean Tallahassee's here, and they like now they're like, Mom, they're like,
Where is it?
Where is this? Like, duh, exactly. So it's funny. So like you need to have the map and you need to have like all the counties. Like you could be like, here's Pasco County.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
kidding.
So Dixie.
That way.
Dixie County. It's right here.
All right, so I have a question. So I know we talked about, I think we did when you were last on, when you were a candidate, things that you wanted to do as an elected. But so now that you're an elected and you are speaking about like things, your blank canvas, what are some of the initiatives or things that you are either currently doing that you can talk about, or things that you are planning to do or want to do, or kind of like what's next?
Sure. So obviously right now is coalition building with our REC board, making sure everybody has a good working relationship. So I'm obviously working in tandem with them, election operations, and I haven't gotten too involved with Lincoln Day, but hopefully we can raise some money to actually make impact for the projects that
Do
I
they have
wanna
any
do.
speakers booked for Lincoln Day?
Apparently they have a few lined up.
Okay.
They have a few good ones lined up. My priority is engaging the youth vote.
Okay.
Which I think I had the 3 C's when I ran, and I think it was coalitions. In Palm Beach County, voters aged 20 to 30, there are 38,000 registered Republicans.
Okay.
6,000 have voted in the last 2 elections.
That's so bad.
And so my goal
That's bad.
My goal is to work with our YR groups, young Republican groups, in order to bump that up at least 10%. Because if those 10% had voted, Sam Stern would be our county attorney.
That's
Or,
right.
I'm sorry,
And
state attorney.
And Trump would have won.
We would have flipped Palm Beach County for Trump. It's great that they're registered, but we just have to ask them to do more. My goal has always been, let's get everybody to take one step up. Right? If you don't vote, vote. If you vote, join the REC. Get involved. Volunteer on a campaign.
If you
right?
vote. If you vote in the general, but vote in the municipals too.
Yes,
like
exactly.
that's the next.
Exactly.
Like to me, like REC, yes, but like vote in primaries.
Yeah.
Vote in.
My whole thing when I was a regional director was telling, like if we just turned up our precincts just 10%, it's huge, for the members that we did, that we do have in precincts. If we can just turn out a 10% more, and countywide we get, we had 80% turnout, so we did pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but if we had 10% of these youth vote, you're right. Like that would have been huge.
I saw that number and I was shocked.
I can't 6,000. That's what 6%? No. 30,000. How many did you say?
I think it's like 20-ish. Oh God.
Never mind.
You know what's funny? I'm a
Doesn't
finance
matter.
major, but I work in politics, so it obviously tells you.
I don't do math.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
going to
gonna-
be hiring math tutors for my kids.
It's not that many.
Not that many. Not that many.
I think there's a way, and using traditional campaign methods to campaign year round to these people to get them involved to do something. Go listen. I'm like this close to raising the money to send a mailer out to all of our people, like all of our 20 to 30 age range. Free drink at the next YR meeting. Why not? Like, let's get crazy.
We'll have to talk offline.
Yeah.
I have ideas.
Yeah, but like, why? Again, blank canvas.
Yeah.
I got no real responsibility. I'm ready to go ham on making sure I can,
Right.
get what I promised done.
Right.
And I have any way of doing that. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird. I love it.
If it
Let's
gets
think
people
outside of
in
the
the
box.
room and gets their attention
Yeah.
and gets them to take that one step up,
Yeah.
I'm
Let's get
in.
them outside of the box. I love it.
LGW.
Let's
Yes.
get weird.
Those are shirts we should wear at the next.
Let's get weird.
People are
WTF.
going to think, what does that mean? She Tipsy says, hi, ladies. Love the podcast. Hey, Joe. And she says, we are. So I don't know if that was.
That means
Hi,
you're
Mom.
together drinking wine.
That's my mom's
I figured
company email.
so. Yeah.
I
so
love it.
Awesome. Couple of quick things I just want to point out. Tom Turkin is having a couple events for Boynton Beach. I wanted to give a couple shout outs.
When are they?
February 19th at 6 p.m. First Presbyterian Church, 235 Southwest 6th Avenue in Boynton. Again, that's Thomas Turkin. February 19th at 6 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church, 235 Southwest 6th Avenue. And then we have another event with Tom Turkin, and I believe these are open candidate forums. I believe multiple candidates might be at these. Chapel Hill is February 26th. That's at 6:30 p.m. And that address is 1025 Mission Hill Road, Boynton. So
That one's from 6 to 7 or 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, right?
6:30.
What was the date of the second one?
The 26th of February. That's Chapel Hill, 6:30. That's 1025 Mission Hill Road, Boynton Beach. So please support Tom Turkin if you are able to. He needs door knockers, volunteers, callers, all of that kind of stuff. So please support him if you are able.
Yeah, we got municipals coming up.
Yeah, March 11th. So everybody should be requesting their vote by mail ballots if they have not already. Shout out to Commissioner Powell. He did mention that on the dais, making sure that people knew that they needed to re-up for their vote by mail ballot, whatever side of the aisle you're on. That doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that we're educating voters and they know how and make it easy for them to vote.
And get them to vote. Yeah. So our next episode is February 20. I mean, we're not wrapping up yet. Oh, we're close to wrapping up. Good
20th.
grief.
The time goes fast.
The 20th. February 20th.
We will be live on time, and hopefully
at 7 p.m.
I've worked out these little kinks. We weren't too bad today.
No, we weren't.
No.
It was a little hiccup. In the
Traffic
We're
would
on-
have been cooperated a little better. We would have been here earlier.
Oh, yeah. The traffic was crazy today.
It was.
I'm ready for
It's been
sleep.
crazy lately.
I'm
I
so
don't remember the
seasoned
last
making-
time it
it's
was
so
this like
so bad.
crazy.
Usually it takes me an hour and a half to get here in rush hour. I got here in 45. So I was
Really?
pretty happy. I'm coming from West Palm though.
Yeah,
so
no,
that's-
I know, but
yeah.
it took you only 45 to get here?
Yeah, it was
Well,
pretty
good
shocking.
That's
for you.
nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Haha.
Congratulations.
No. Yeah,
I had
it's,
to stop for my coffee. That was
Yeah.
part of the problem.
Ah.
oh, no. I actually had to go home. I
It
forgot my
was
purse.
really weird coming home from work today because it was like up until 6th Avenue there was an accident.
Mm.
So there was nobody. Road was packed. The minute I got past that, there was hardly anybody on the road. It was really weird. It was like
Oh,
It's the bottleneck. That's
it's
why.
the
Because
bottleneck
then
once
they-
you get through that.
Yeah.
I do have one more thing I wanted to talk about. I had a this was this last week. This week and last week were the board meetings. So I sit on 2 community boards for the county. I sit on the Women's Advisory Committee board and the Citizens Advisory Committee for the Solid Waste Authority. So I had both board meetings this last week. There's really nothing interesting happening at the Women's Advisory Committee, but the Solid Waste Authority was interesting because we're going to be, they're looking to renew contracts for and shift the district, one of the districts for where the pickups are for the, it's divided by district and those go out for the haulers, the different haulers to bid on and to take those contracts for the different. So there's different, that's why you see different trucks carrying carrying the trash in different areas because it's based off of the hauler. Anyway, so it was a whole long discussion because they kind of carved out this one section to be a smaller section in order to give that one to an EBO to have oversight of the EBO. So it has to either be a small business or woman-owned business to put the bid on it. And so the hoops that we are jumping through for this is very, very interesting. And it's an interesting conversation.
Let's keep winning.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have to. It'll be. They still have it.
Are you? Yeah.
But-
so I wonder how that's going to be affected.
I don't think it can be affected because it's still. I was wondering that, but it's based. I don't know. I got to do. I haven't had time since then. This was yesterday, so.
Do they go by U.S. statute or code, or do they? Is
But
it like an
there's no
administrative
prohibition for
authority?
them to put in so the EBO is by ordinance in the county, and then the Solid Waste Authority has its own ordinance to have an EBO, and through that it basically gives preferential contracts to the businesses that are registered in the EBO.
But I thought that came from a disparity study that was mandated by the federal government.
That
Now, my
I don't
question
know.
Is that,
That's
is that
possible.
administrative or is it by statute?
I don't know.
Because if it's administrative, we're about to win.
It was about to go away.
Better get a-
That
yeah.
did not come up. I thought about that, but I didn't know enough
Well,
about
I
it to
know
bring it
at
up.
the county level, they were trying to change the parameters so that it was locally based
Right.
and not necessarily these particular parameters.
So I don't know. Solid Waste Authorities was definitely had to be locally based because that was one of the biggest conversations was because since it's such a niche contract of haulers, there's not that many businesses that can do it. And so there might be a business that's up in Martin County that would like the contract. That's a small enough business. And so they were like, we need to decide, since the contracts are coming up for renewal, what the parameters are for a business to be located in the county. Is it just their customer service operations, or does it need to be, because right now it's written that it's just customer service operations, but then they're saying, do they need to have their yard here, or do they need to have this here? So
their trucks registered.
Right. So that's like where the direction the conversation was going, and it was the introduction of the conversation. So I was like, we're going to be having this for like the next like 4 months, I'm sure. But the whole conversation was literally in order because they created a section in the county in order for an EBO business to be able to bid on it, which I found. I will keep you. I'll keep you updated. It was very interesting. It was much longer than I had anticipated because usually that meeting is like 30 minutes, and it was an hour and a half. And I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." I'm texting my husband. I'm like, "You got to pick up the kids from school."
Was everybody engaging on the board?
Yeah, people were asking questions. So again, we're the citizens. So the Citizens Advisory Committee advises, gives our recommendations, or brings up questions, or brings up things that then gets put into the notes that are then sent to the commissioners, who are the actual board of Solid Waste Authority. So then they take our reports and they read through.
You guys do the grunt work and then give it to
kind of. So Mick, my husband, was asking me, he's like, do you think it's like effective? Like, you think? I was like, if they're a good commissioner and they actually read the reports, which I would like to think that they all are, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they do read it. Then yeah, because we are the people who are affected by the decisions that they make. So it's a more detailed look, voice versus just public matters by the public, where things can kind of get lost in all of the drama. This is like specific, like we're looking at all of the data and the information. So we're giving a little bit more educated, oftentimes, not saying matters by the public is not educated, but the feedback we're giving is a little more nuanced than the 3 minutes that someone might get at matters by the public.
It's very important.
It's really important, actually.
Yeah,
so I found it very interesting, and I was very happy to be on the board.
As much as I complained about overload with information on the commission, it was helpful because I could reach out anytime and it's documented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your analysis, or you know, the Citizens Advisory Committee, people who really care about getting involved in their community, had something to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
They care about trash.
greatly appreciate it.
I love. Yeah, it's fun.
We love,
and I'm not
we
saying
love our trash talk.
we love our trash talk. And I'm not saying the Women's Advisory Committee is not important. It was just there wasn't a lot. There's nothing to report from the meeting. It was just a lot of women talking. So.
All right, Josie, any final comments that you need to make?
I don't think so. This was such a fun conversation. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys for having me. I so greatly appreciate being here. And I'm sorry, if I may, give me 15 seconds.
Absolutely. I was just going to ask you, what do you want to leave us with?
There needs to be like 10 more We the Locals chapters.
Okay, so this was my vision, literally my vision from what I was like, guys, I want there to be We the Locals Tampa.
Yes. We
We the Locals, because I was again with my family this weekend, and I was talking about politics, and I got on this whole rant about education and politics. My sister and brother are like, well, I'm like, there needs to be We the Locals Jacksonville and We the Locals. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I agree.
We had something in Tampa called the Yard Sign.
Oh,
for a minute. Yeah, it was really nice, and they brought on people from both parties, and it was a really good discussion run by Republicans. But you guys have no idea how crucial you are to getting news to people who just want to know about their local government. The most important aspects of their lives are not being reported on by anybody. It's just what's juicy in the Palm Beach Post.
That's correct.
Or whose character can they assassinate or whatever. This is real news and discussion.
That's right.
Where that you can interact directly with people. So thank you, ladies, for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your
really means
support.
a lot
Yeah,
to a
thank
lot
you
of
for your
people.
support. Yeah, well, we are happy to be here. It's so fun. I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I go back to Steve Abrams because he, said that like different municipalities and the county commission used to have all the reporters sitting there every meeting, and then they'd make their notes, and then they'd promote something or write an article for the paper so everybody was informed. And you're right, there's just nothing like that anymore, and it's quite sad because there's so many things that happen, and especially at our municipalities. And I have to make a shout out again. Municipal elections are March 11th, and literally like 10 to 15% of your population of your municipality chooses your elected leaders, and that is just sad.
Sad.
It is so sad that we are just not paying attention to what's going on locally. And I understand it's not the greatest. It's
not sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy.
Not sexy.
It's not sexy at all. But, have a glass of wine, pop some popcorn, and watch your county commission meetings at least a few times a year. You can read the agendas and kind of know what's going on, and then, be able to look at the county commission or your city municipality in that way. So definitely get yourself educated, and we need people like you, Joe, that are willing to come on and give us more information and educate people. So
educate us, because we don't know everything.
Exactly.
We're just trying to stay one step ahead. It's like when my mom homeschooled us. She was like, I just was one lesson ahead of you in the teacher's book. That's basically it.
It's all. We're all participating in getting people to take that one step.
That's right.
Exactly.
step.
So that's your challenge, our audience. Take one step. Talk to one person about getting registered to vote. Talk to one person about requesting their vote by mail, and then you take one more step.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like
Great
that.
idea.
One step.
That's awesome. Anything you want us to keep an eye out for, Joe?
How do people
And
follow you?
You want
Joe?
Anybody to follow
Social
you?
media?
Joe LaFauci FL on Instagram. I think it's the same handle on Facebook.
X?
On X, I am Joe_LaFauci. That's LAFAUCI. I try to post as much as I can, but I'm not always hitting the nail on the head. So follow me, and maybe you'll get something once a week.
Maybe not. All right.
Awesome. So be sure to follow us on Instagram at We The Locals FL. We're We The Locals FL on X, We The Locals on Facebook. You can check us out online on our website at WeTheLocalsPodcast.com. There's links to our channels there. You can, and information about sponsorships. You can also give us a donation, help us keep the lights on. We'd really appreciate that. $5-10 goes a long way for us. If you have any questions for Joe that you want us to get to him, or comments, please feel free to email us at WeTheLocalsFL@gmail.com. Have a great night, everybody.
Hey, hang on.
Oh.
If you've made it this far in the show, throw in $100. These ladies work very hard, and you're obviously invested. So
Thank you.
Thank
contribute
you.
to your local news people who are just trying to get you answers.
Thank you. We'll take it.
I appreciate that, Joe. Yes, follow your state committee man, Joe LaFauci. He knows how to get things done. Make sure to have a great night, everybody, and stay local.
Bye.
Bye.